Hey there, I'm Celia, a French freelance illustrator and full-time designer. Welcome in this new video. Today we are getting back to my student years. In 2012 I did an art prep year, and today I wanted to redo one of my favorite assignments with you. So I did this prep year in France, and there were a lot of different courses related to art and graphic jobs. And one of my favorite assignments was this fashion design homework, a trend book which looks like more a color chart with themes. So the assignment was to create 16 color palettes linked to a word based on an image. The images were supposed to have the same vibe and look like a series. Each color had to be painted by hand with gouache or acrylic. The 16 themes were heat, cold, light, darkness, contrast, fusion, calm, dynamic, sweetness, acidity, simplicity, extravagance, modernity, nostalgic, natural, and urban. I didn't remember well, but I think that the final format was free. So when I was art student, I created 16 cards that can be stored in a cover, but it's not binded. I really like this format, so I think I will keep something quite similar. At the time, I just selected a bunch of women pictures on Pinterest, and it's not giving a special vibe. Actually, it's giving me a really strong 2010 Pinterest vibe. I had a good grade, but some of my colors were really off, and the color painted weren't uniform enough. I also did some strange choices for some words, and the color palette isn't working at all in a few cards. But it was a really interesting exercise, and I wanted to do it again for a long time, so here we go. To start, I'm choosing the reference images that I will use. I'm using the website Unsplash to find some beautiful free images. I'll put in description the photographer's name for the selected images. I decide to go for some abstract images, and I love the oil and paint style photo. I select a bunch of photos which talk to me, and then I'm importing all of these photos in Figma. Figma is a design tool for web design, but I'm also using it when I need to work on graphic design. So I have all my images into Figma, and I sort them to define which one is going to be with which word. The words are working in opposite pairs, so I'm trying to build a consistency between them. Then, once all my photos are linked to their word, I'm creating 3 tiles for each to decide about the color palettes. I'm using the Figma color picker to select the colors from the images, and I'm creating my 16 color palettes like that. I'm pretty happy with the results so far. I never used this exercise to create some color palettes after my school years, but it's really an efficient method. I could have stopped here and I would be really happy with these 16 color palettes, but the assignment was to be able to recreate some colors with paint, so we'll go for the painted palettes. Once I'm happy with the colors, it's time to print the color charts and the images. The printing time is always really frustrating because some colors won't work at all once printed. It's basically what happened with the beautiful turquoise colors that I selected. Once printed, the colors look more dull, but the images are still quite beautiful. I cut every image, and I also prepare the A6 cards that I will use to glue my colors and the images. On each card, I use my light table to transfer the typography on the cards. I'm super rusty with lettering, so it doesn't look good at all. I should printed the words directly on the cards, but I guess it's giving a little handmade vibe to the cards. Then it's time to attack the most difficult part. It's time to create the colors for the color palettes. So I'm starting by the red colors, and to avoid using too much paint or wasting some paint, I'm trying to create the closest colors each time I'm working on a new color. For example, I started with red, and then I'm adding some white to create the pink tones that I need. Some of them are a bit orangey, so I'm adding a bit of yellow or apricot, and so on. I'm using my printed color chart to be sure that the colors are compatible with the images. I could have go for more flashy colors closest to what we can see on Figma, but it wouldn't be aligned with the printed images, so I decided to be closest to the printed colors. It's a really time-consuming exercise because there is 48 colors to make, but it is also super interesting, and I feel like I've improved a lot in colors because I wasn't able to know what to add to my colors to make it shift the way I wanted. And now when I need to modify a color, I'm able to anticipate way better. So I was really happy to notice that. So at the end, I have 48 colors, 16 images, and 16 cards with words, and I just have to glue it all. I also created a little box to store the cards, and here's the result. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was way more time consuming than what I expected, but it was worth it. I feel like the majority of the colors are going well with the words. Same for the images, there is a real consistency. My only regret is the typography because it looks a bit off, but it means that I will have some room for improvement for the next version I will make. Maybe the next time I could paint every image, but it will definitely take forever to make. I really enjoyed this exercise, so if you are or were an art student, don't hesitate to share with me some of your art school assignments. It will be really fun to do them together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!